Glad you could join us here today on a Wednesday. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, your tour guide to the ag commodities. Markets are just kind of all over the place here today, and we're trying to keep tabs on them. The one that has the most attention is a soybean trade, and we'll get to that in a second. We'll start with the corn. And on the corn market right now, our quotes provided by Bar Chart show that we have December a penny and a half higher now at 687 3/4. We've been on both sides of unchanged during the day, just not really getting anywhere. The entire trading range from high to low is only about 6 cents wide today. Now, on the soybeans, they have been trading higher basically all day. You have the January, we'll go with that. It's 13 1/4 higher now at 14.05 1/2, kind of edging a little bit firmer as we go, getting closer to the high of the overnight trade. If you look at wheat, though, wheat has been dragging its feet, and now it's starting to lift. You have December Chicago wheat after a low of 8.24 earlier today. Now it's at 8.38 1/2, and now we're 3.5 cents higher. So finally, signs of life in the wheat market. In Kansas City wheat, you have December 3 higher at 9.37 1/2. It's not a runaway train, but it is higher. On the Minneapolis market, you have December spring wheat just a penny higher at 9.53 1/4. And that's about 6 cents from our overnight high. We're off of our low this morning by about 9 cents right now. On the cotton trade, you have December currently quoted at 78.37 per pound. That is now down 10 points. I'm joined by Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. He is based in Chicago. He joins us right now. And Todd, as we look at this market action here, just kind of a wishy-washy affair, it's like the only commodity that seems to know what it wants to do is actually soybeans here this week. Otherwise, it just kind of wears you out watching it.
Well, Marlon, if we look at the bigger picture, they basically are going nowhere. Everything's going nowhere fast. It's almost like somebody's put an anchor on top of these so they can't go higher. They should be going higher. I mean, listen, between the shortages, between the transportation troubles, and of course, rumor has it that there's a shortage of diesel supply coming to transport these goods. You know, we should be going much higher. But unfortunately, it looks like there's something on top, holding these things lower and holding them down in these ranges here. And, you know, we'll see. But as we look, and you and I talk every Wednesday, from Wednesday to Wednesday, they're about the same as they were last Wednesday, which is, again, I don't think is the way they should be. And I think there's a much bigger demand out there. But until the markets recognize it, you start to see some action, which volume has been pathetic. I don't think we're going much of anything right here.
On the last commitment of traders report that we had regarding the grain, I saw where it looks like on the corn, we had the commodity funds, the large managed money funds, they were still net long on the corn by over 250,000 contracts, although that is quite a bit lower than what they were several months ago, but still a fairly strong commitment on the long side. I was surprised at that. Are you?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think that you have, again, if you look at from a outside perspective, there's some weight that is holding things down, and maybe some of the bigger funds, even though they may even be long, may be trying to just force them lower to buy them cheaper before they explode higher. I think a lot is got to do with the upcoming election. You could see, you know, try to hold food prices down until we get through this election, because I expect these prices to explode higher once we can get through here. But right now, again, every time we get a little bit going, the volume is so light that it doesn't take much to put a weight on top of them and hold them off from really moving further higher.
Well, I've heard you mention that there is a possibility of going higher. What would be the spark to make the markets ignite at this point?
No, I think, again, I'm going to use the election here as my benchmark. I think that, of course, you know, when we get towards election, there's a lot of things that go on. And, of course, we want to keep food prices low. We want to try to keep oil prices lower and keep equities higher, which would, you know, hopefully, you know, for the party in power would like to stay there. And, again, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but to me that is what's happening, and that's what it looks like. And I'd be very cautious here because I think once the election is over, I think these prices explode higher. Because, again, then there's nothing to, you know, nobody's fighting for anything. We're now, you know, letting the free markets trade again. But here you've got, you know, with real thin, light volume, you've got a lot of weight on top of these grains right now.
Just wanted to point out December crude oil, West Texas crude is really firming up now, up $2.35 at $87.67 per barrel, way off its earlier low by about $3.50. Good stuff. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. We'll talk again soon. Todd Bubba Horowitz of BubbaTrading.com. We'll pause here. We'll come back and we'll talk a little livestock market action next.